For the last few years, fans have been left wondering if Cade Cunningham, a highly touted prospect that was drafted first overall, could ever blossom to become a star, the savior of a once great Pistons franchise that has struggled for the last decade and a half. With plenty of encouraging signs last season, transitioning into the best start of his career yet, it appears as if the Motor City has found their savior. Cade is breaking Pistons records on triple-double watch constantly, shooting the most efficient he ever has, and with the first real supporting cast of his career, Detroit is a playoff contender after a historically bad season last year. Any previous doubters are quiet now. Cade is the real deal. Crazily enough, I was a doubter, ranking Cade 56th in my top 100 over the offseason. I was wrong, but let me explain why I won't be this time. He's averaging 22.8 points, 8.2 assists, and 7.2 rebounds through his first 10 games. The other three players averaging 22, 8, and 7, four-time MVP LeBron James, three-time MVP Nikola Jokic, and 2024 MVP finalist Luka Doncic. Just 9 other players have ever averaged those numbers across an entire season. Those players: LeBron, MJ, Wilt, Magic, Luka, Oscar, Jokic, Harden, and Westbrook. All but one of the 32 seasons got the players an all-star appearance. The only one who didn't is 2021 Russ, who was barely averaging 20 on the 14-20 Wizards before the all-star break. Cade is also the third youngest player to accomplish this, behind Luka and Oscar, two of the best point guards ever. But how did those numbers get so high? Cade is breaking records with the Pistons for triple-doubles. After nearly 3 years, exactly 1,009 days, Cade has got the first triple-double by any Piston. How did he follow that up? 2 more consecutive triple-doubles. He has the last 5 by any Piston, the last being Mason Plumlee when Cade was still playing for Oklahoma State in college. He becomes just the second player in franchise history, the other being Grant Hill in 1997 with 3 straight triple-doubles. He also becomes the 5th youngest player with a streak of 3, behind Oscar, Jokic, Magic, and Giddey. At just 23 years and 44 days, Cade tied franchise legend Isaiah Thomas at 5 career triple-doubles, second most in franchise history. And maybe the biggest improvement in his scoring is how efficient he has got on his drives, which Cade is somehow doing at a higher volume than last year. Last season, he averaged 10 points, 12th in the league off drives, and shot at a 46.8% rate. This year, 5th in points with 11.6 per game on 55.1%, yet a guard is doing it at 55.1%. He's seemingly more decisive about just getting a bucket, as he's averaging less drives but more field goals, and his strong frame helps his body just get his way into the paint and get a basket. Cade is also, of course, one of the highest scorers in the pick and roll, ranking 9th in points as the ball handler with 9, something that he's constantly been good at throughout his career. Cade's playmaking has also been very noteworthy, averaging a career high 8.2 assists. That currently ranks 6th in the league, above guys like LeBron, Luka, Halliburton, Sabonis, Shea, Garland, and LaMelo, some of the best playmakers in recent memory. While he hasn't been game-breaking in that department, he has been smart and a very good initiator and connective passer. He's creating over 22 points a game from his assist, and between points he scored or assisted on, he's the cause of over 45 points a game, 41.8% of the Pistons' total scoring. Comparing that to Luka, arguably the best creator in the league and one of the best creators of all time, he's creating 42.9% of the Mavs points, a pretty close number. All of this is with some insane responsibility. Cade is 3rd in minutes, 2nd in miles ran, and 4th in touches so far. He has a 30.2% usage rate, the 3rd straight season of his career with it being 30% or higher, but that hasn't stopped him from being a beast defensively. Opponents are shooting just 36.9% on 16 attempts a game when being guarded by Cade, and 31.3% on threes. He notably got the game-sealing block against the Hawks, but his physicality has given him some of the best defensive performances of his career. This season, LeBron is shooting 0 for 6 when being guarded by Cunningham. Jaylen Brown is also at a dismal 0 for 6. Jason Tatum, 2 for 6. Jalen Brunson, 0 for 5. Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell both 1 for 3. And LaMelo Ball and Tyrese Halliburton 0 for 3. These are some of the biggest stars, and especially offensive stars in the league, being locked up by Cade. And at 23, a mobile 6'6", strong 220-pound guard has the versatility to surpass expectations, especially defensively. But before I go more into the video, if you can subscribe or even just like, it actually helps the channel out so much. Even just watching to this point really helps the video out and helps it spread to more people. So thank you for even making it this far. But let's get on with the rest of it. Is this actually translating to wins? Cade has been great, but Detroit is actually doing solid. Remember, last season, Detroit was one of the most clown teams in the league, losing a record 28 consecutive games and finishing with just 14 wins, lowest in the league and in franchise history in just the first season of Monty Williams at head coach, who had a $78.5 million contract before they fired him, still owing $65 million for JB Bickerstaff, and so far it's worked out. The Pistons are off to a 4-6 start. Last season, it took 40 games to reach that win total, and it's the first time they've got 4 wins in their first 10 games since 2021, when Jeremy Grant was still a Piston. And because of how bad the East is, they are legitimate playoff contenders. During the writing of the script of this video, I'm sure it's changed because the East is so close, but they sit 6th in the Eastern Conference, above teams like the Heat, Magic, Bucks, and 76ers, and are just 1 game back of the 3 seed, and Cade's impact is undeniable. The Pistons offense ranks 24th in points per game and 22nd in offensive rating, with the only reason that they aren't bottom 3 in both categories is because of Cade. He leads the Pistons in offensive box plus minus, and it isn't really close, with Cade sitting at a positive 1.5. Second place, Tim Hardaway Jr. is only at 0.9. Only 4 of the 13 players that have touched the court are actually positive in that statistic for the Pistons. 5 of their 6 highest scoring 5-man lineups involve Cade, but when looking up into lineup stats, we see just how impactful he is on both ends. Only one Pistons lineup has a higher plus minus than 10. Of course, it's the one with Cade, and weirdly enough, it's also a lineup Detroit has used in just 41 minutes in 6 games this season. Cade has a plus 3.5 on-off, so they are 3.5 points better with Cade on the floor than off, easily the highest of his career, even with the Pistons winning more. Detroit has the 19th best net rating, not anything but insane, but compared to last year, this team is one of the most improved. In the offseason, they added veterans Tobias Harris, Tim Hardaway Jr., and Malik Beasley. Some players that didn't always fit and weren't particularly liked in their last place, specifically THJ in Dallas and Harris in Philly, but so far both of those guys have been pretty solid in the Motown, combining for 26 points per game and both shooting around 46 to 47% from the field. They haven't been great, but they've been filling their role, and rookie Ron Holland has also showed plenty of flashes for the future, despite his threes not falling, and Jaden Ivey's having a career year in his 3rd season, averaging a career high of 18.5 points per game on 45.7% from the field, 37% from 3, and 55.2% true shooting. Once a very inefficient player, putting up empty stats, has taken a very large 3-point shooting leap in his efficiency and is the clear 2nd best player on Detroit. But that second is Cade, who has an all-star opportunity. In a very weak Eastern Conference with plenty of guards underperforming, Cade could sneak into an all-star spot. Right now, LaMelo, Trey, Brunson, Cade, Spida, Garland, Dame, and Maxey are all fighting for 4 to 6 spots, and though the odds may be against Cade, he undoubtedly has the talent to get one, even if it isn't this season. As a physical scorer that has turned into a triple-double threat and a very good playmaker with some of the most underrated defense among younger guards, Cade could just be breaking the surface. The Pistons are real playoff contenders, and Cade is turning into a star in front of our eyes.